story of our lives, the best of times through colored glass. Time rolls on enough to let me move on past, but every little now and then it creeps on back to shape my smile. Was wrong to say I wouldn't change a thing, 'cause in the story of our lives, the best of times through colored glass. Time rolls on enough to let me move on past, but every little now and then it creeps on back to shape my smile.
Hey, happy Tuesday, everybody. How you doing today? It's election day. It's a big day. It's a little crazy, so if you're stressed, it's okay. Just take some deep breaths and we'll get through it. Somehow, right? We'll get there. So, all right, we got a couple things to cover today. Let's take a peek here. I am so far behind. I'm sorry. I forgot I hadn't graded your midterms yet. I'm sorry, guys. I will get those in tonight. So sorry to be so far behind on those. We got that coming up, and then our Connect 4 project is due end of next week, right next Thursday. Yep, the 12th is going to be due. So let's take a peek here. What else do we have on tap? This will be a bit of a lighter week. Exceptions and modules are real small topic. So we should be able to get it all in today probably, and then you should have some extra time. I'm in class, what do you need?
I don't know which one to plug this fire TVs to.
I can't help with that right now. Ask Jeb. So won't be too much going on. We should be able to get through it all today. And then on the 5th, I'm actually going to be traveling back to Philadelphia. My daughter's got surgery. I thought it was on the 9th. It's actually on the 11th. So we're going to be in Philly. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to do pre-recorded videos. I won't be able to do any of this Twitch live stuff through these 2 weeks, dealing with files and inheritance. So I apologize for that, but I can be online on Discord answering questions as you guys have them during our regular class times. I should be able to. The internet quality is not strong enough there to keep a stream up without it going up and down and up and down and up and down, and that's just, I think that's obnoxious for everybody. So yeah, we can go from there. Yeah, so it shouldn't be too bad this week. We'll get that last project, right? And then we'll have a files project after we talk about files next week. That'll be the last individual project. That one we'll probably have through the first week of December. Maybe December 3rd will probably be due. But I do want to give you your final project this week before Thanksgiving, in case you need extra time to get started on it. Again, that's a major portion of your grade, so definitely want to focus on that one. And then usually we would have done these in pairs if we were meeting in person, but given all this remote learning stuff, I'm not going to make you work in pairs, so you're more than welcome to take it on individually. But if you want to work with a partner in class for the final project, that's definitely an option for you guys. So again, just optional if that's something you guys want to do. So keep that in mind. Maybe find someone there hanging out in Discord, or if you guys have another chat going on, ask around there. Yeah, so we are cruising right along, already in week 10 here, out of our 16, 15 really, because Thanksgiving break. Yeah, should be fun. All right, anything else on your guys' minds, you folks? Before we jump into the new stuff, we got exceptions and modules. I'll fire up PyCharm here. We can get that going. Come on, PyCharm. It's loading real slow. We'll get there. Oh man. Quizzes. Okay. I didn't post a quiz for classes, did I? Oh, a dad joke. All right, you guys got it. So, while PyCharm loads, we're looking at getting a new couch, and instead of trying to go to like Art Fam's not around anymore, but Gardner White or one of the big furniture stores, I heard you could go right to the furniture factory and get a good discount. So we went to the factory and we're checking things out, and unfortunately I fell into an upholstery machine. Don't worry, I'm fully recovered now. All right. Start the new project. Come on, PyCharm. Was that one not as good? I can tell another one if you want a better one. Let's talk about exceptions. This is chapter 10, exceptions. So, yeah. All right. How about it's kind of ironic. Your eyelashes are made to keep things out of your eyes, but like almost all the time when there's something in your eye, it's an eyelash. It's kind of ironic. That one was better, right? I think that one was better than the upholstery joke. Okay, so we've done stuff like this before where we're going to do some simple arithmetic, and we'll say, hey, the temp in F is an int of an input of to the temp in F degrees or something like that, sure. And then we can convert, right? Then we can print the little formatted string temp in C is, and we'll do some arithmetic in here, right? It is Fahrenheit, right? Temp in F, right? Minus 32, and all of that times 5/9. Right? That should be able to convert from Fahrenheit to Celsius. So if we do 212 degrees, right, in Fahrenheit, 100 degrees Celsius, perfect. And if we do it again, oops, I didn't want to debug. That's fine. We'll just let it go slow. Right, and if we do 32, we should get 0, right, checking our two boiling point and freezing points that everyone should know. Come on. There, temp in F, 32, we get 0. Cool. That works out well, right? But now, what we haven't been able to do very well is, what if I enter 10? It crashes here. So what we're getting, this here, this value error down here, is an exception. So what we're going to learn about is how we can deal with exceptions to keep our program from crashing. So what we're going to do is, you use a new keyword here called try. And try says, hey, this thing might throw an exception. An exception might happen. And what we're going to do is, in the except block, is if an exception happens, it always upsets me they didn't write exception, but apparently that's hard to spell. So it's try except, which is short for an exception happened. Right? The value error is an exception. So what should we do if that doesn't work? Well, I don't know, we'll print that's not a valid number. And then we're going to move this printf to up here. And then, you know, maybe because we want to like keep trying again, we'll do this. Oops, that was weird. How did it give me 2 whiles? Let's, I don't know, like try again is yes, and while try again is equal to yes. Let's do all this, and then we'll ask them if they want to try again. So try, except, and then right, if an exception happens, the code stops running in the try block. So we never get to this print line if this raises an exception or throws an exception. I think raise is the correct term here in Python. So if an exception happens, right, this never runs. It'll just jump right to here. And then we come back in our while block and we'll say, okay, try again equals an input of try again. And like y/n, you know, kind of prompt them. And we will do this lower, not lower, just in case, because we're only comparing it to the lowercase y. Let's give that a run. All right, so now I'll try 10, and I get that's not a valid number. Try again, sure. 10, negative 12 degrees. Okay, cool, 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 cool. No, I want to be all done. Why is it upset about our accept block? What does it want? Oh, it's too broad. That's fine. We haven't talked about that yet. So this lets our program not crash. Does that make sense? So if something might throw an exception, we're going to try, and then if an exception happens, we'll have except. So that's kind of the basics here. So it's giving us a chance to not throw one of those big red ugly errors and to keep trying, which is cool. Now, this one here, when it did fail on us, where did it go? It gave us a value error, right? So if you want to be specific with your exceptions, you can have multiple blocks here, multiple except blocks. Depends on what you're trying to do here. So the book has a great example. They're doing BMI. You can have a value error, and then you can have a zero division error. Depending on, you know, if they entered a zero value there. It's a different kind of error. This except block without a specifier will just be any possible exception. And that's why PyCharm's upset with us. It's saying, hey, maybe we should be more specific. Well, sure, we could if we wanted. So we could be specific and say value error. Oops, just one. Oh, come on. It was a value error, wasn't it? It was a value error, right? Am I spelling it wrong? Maybe I'm spelling it wrong. Value error. Did I spell it? I must have spelled it wrong. That's crazy, because now it turned purple. Okay, so except value error. So if a value error happens, we'll catch it. We'll be very specific, because I know that's likely to happen here if I give it something that's not a number. Try again or not. So this is a better practice, right? Because we know what it's going to be, let's take care of it. All right. So those are handling some of the built-in ones, right? We can just, we'll handle that because something bad was going to happen and we can keep on going. What's cool is we can write and have our own exceptions or raise our own exceptions here. And this is where it becomes really useful with classes. So if I were to write a class for, I don't know, what we had like a class for cup, didn't we, that we could drink out of? We could define in the init method. That would take a self, and then we might say a capacity in milliliters, right? Yeah, you guys made fun of me because I can't spell liters, right? Milliliters, litres, liter. That's probably right, right? And then we'd say self dot capacity in milliliters is equal to the capacity in milliliters. Milliliters. That's probably spelled right. Maybe it's not. Oh, sorry. With underscores. There we go. Is that why he's yelling at me? And now, okay, milliliters. Oh my goodness, milliliters. Isn't that spelled right? Typo. 2 L's? M-I-L-L liters? I-L-I-T. It's not litres, liters. Okay, not litres. Thank you. You got my back. Alright. So, this is all great, well and good, but what happens if they give me a crappy value for capacity? Well, so far we haven't been able to do anything. So what we can do is we can check. We can say if the capacity in milliliters is, I don't know, less than or equal to 0. Because, like, you really can't, I mean, okay, I guess 0 is fine. Like, we're a plate at that point, just a flat plate. We're not really a cup. But maybe we could pretend we were. So I'll say, hey, if the capacity is less than 0, I want to cause a stink. I want to make them deal with it. So I'm going to say raise a value error. So I'm going to cause this exception to happen myself. Capacity may not be negative. And what you can do is you can put a nice error message in here. If it doesn't happen, then we just keep on going and life is good. And we have our cup. So if I want to make a cup, right, so like maybe I'll have my mug equals a cup, and I'll say my mug is, I don't know, it's like a 20-ounce cup, so that's probably close to 250 milliliters. That's wrong, but that's okay. Sure, say that. And then let's make another cup. This is impossible equals a cup of like -10, right? And let's see what happens. Oh, enter a temp. Sure. Try again. No. Boom, we get a value error. And it says capacity may not be negative. So the beauty of this, remember we've talked a little bit about classes. When we write classes, the idea is that we want to be able to use this class code in lots of different places. And that's kind of a pipe dream, I'll be honest. Like, it's not always going to happen, but that's the design goal. Right? We want classes to be reusable. So a class itself should have nothing to do with print and nothing to do with input. Because I don't want to be tied to dealing with console input and output and having to run things in the command line like this. Maybe I'm going to write a fantastic class and someone's going to use it in a web application. Maybe I'll write an amazing class and someone wants to use it in a graphical user interface where there is no console input and output. Right? So a class, when we design the class with object-oriented programming, it should be independent of any input and output system. Right? The class should have the class logic. We're going to encapsulate all those details of a class, that noun. It's going to have all of its attributes, and then it's going to have all of its public methods, or its public functions, its interface that we deal with in that abstract manner. So the only way classes should interact then, if something goes wrong, is by raising exceptions. Right? If you give me a bad value, I'm going to raise a value error, and whoever made that cup has to deal with it or crash. So if I'm in a web application, I have to deal with that or crash. Right? I don't want to print things. I don't want to print errors and say, oh, a bad thing happened, because there's no guarantee it's going to be seen. Right? So this is fantastic. So this lets the person who's using our code deal with the problem and keeps this integrity of our classes as well. So classes can ensure they have integrity by raising exceptions. And this sort of thing, like when we did drink, we probably don't want to be able to drink more liquid than possible. Right, so maybe then we'll set, okay, so we got a current capacity, and then we'll have a current volume in milliliters. Look at that, I spelled it right that time. So 0, right? And we'll define like add to, I don't know, add? Sure. That takes milliliters to add. Okay, and then we're going to check, right? If the milliliters to add plus self.currentVolume is greater than self.capacity, I need to raise an exception. I don't know what, too many cup is not large enough to hold, something like that. I don't know. We'll just say cup is not large enough. Okay? If it's not, then I'm going to add it. So my self.currentVolume in milliliters will go up by the milliliters to add. Great. And we'll define a drink. Right, same idea, with a milliliters to drink. Milliliters to drink. And now I want to check. So if the milliliters to drink is greater than the current volume, self.current volume. We'll raise a value error. Not enough. I don't know. Can't drink that much or something. Not enough in the cup to drink. Sorry, these errors sound terrible right now, but this is just a message, right? This is just a friendly message telling them something went wrong. Otherwise, my self.current volume in milliliters goes down by the milliliters to drink. Okay, so the class here is protecting its integrity, ensuring we have valid values by using exceptions. So if you try and add more liquid and it's going to pour out, we'll raise a value error. Ooh, that's no good. You can't pour that much in here. You can't add that much in. Drink. Oh, if you try to drink more than we have, oh, it doesn't work. Right, so let's ignore this one here. This will crash. I mean, they're all going to crash here, which is kind of the point. Here, let's do this. Let's use that try except here. So try and accept the value error. Now, what's cool is you can print the value error. So if you want to give it a name, like exception, like that, or as exception. There we go. We can print it right back out. So you can still print the error, but you can continue going without crashing here. And then we're going to do my mug.add. So if the capacity was 250, let's try and add 500 milliliters to it. That'll cause an exception, and let's try and drink. So we never actually added anything, so when I drink just like one, it should fail as well. So now it's not going to crash here, but we'll still get the messages back out. So when I print the exception, I get the message here that we had added. So I get, hey, capacity may not be negative, cup is not large enough, not enough in the cup to drink. Right, I get those exceptions back out. Right, that's the error message here. So I don't get that whole stack trace, the big red ugly stuff. All I get is the message provided. So it's important to have a nice message here. But this way, the person using our class now has options and is forced to deal with it or crash, which is the right way. That's the beauty of exceptions, right? That's how a class will communicate to the person using the code that something bad happened. Hey, this is completely invalid. Now, you don't want to abuse exceptions, right? The idea that we use exceptions, they should be exceptional. Like this bad thing happened, it's putting us in a bad state, we can't handle it here, because try and accept is technically slow in terms of execution speed. Sorry, I have to sneeze. Let me mute you for a second. Whew, sorry about that. Glad I got you on mute. That was loud. So exceptions are technically slow, so we don't want to rely on them for normal operations. But they handle these exceptional cases where a bad thing happened that will put us in a bad state. We can't do that here. So we can use exceptions for that, which is cool. Functions can have exceptions. It doesn't have to just be inside of a class, right? You can just write just a regular function in your code that can do exceptions or handle exceptions. Nope, not a problem there. And there's one other cool thing we can get here. There's another block we can add, and most of the time this is when we're dealing with files. We'll talk about all this here because it will make more sense, and we haven't done files yet, but it's called a finally block. So you get try, you get accept, and then you get finally. And what happens with the finally block is this will run no matter if the try runs or the accept runs. So whenever it gets to the end of try or the end of the exception handling, the finally block will run. So you can use that to do any other sort of operations that you might need to do. Maybe that'd be nice to do this try again inside of finally, that sort of thing. But I mean, it's going to happen here anyway, so it doesn't matter too much to us one way or the other. But this is much more important when we're dealing with files, having a finally block here. So we'll come back to that when we start dealing with files. Don't worry. All right, how you guys feeling so far? So we've seen these red exceptions happen before, right? We've seen where we try and get these. You might remember if we make like a tuple. Say here's a numbers is 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 30, 4, 55, and on and on and on and on. You guys remember that sequence? Recognize the name of it? And then I say like numbers, index of 2 equals, I don't know, let's just throw a 7 in there. Right, we get a type error. So I could do a try and catch here too, right? I could try. Oops, back that up. And then we could accept type error as exception. I mean, you can call it E, you can call it ECP, I mean, whatever, anything you want here, it doesn't matter. I just prefer nice long names here. You guys remember this sequence name? 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, on and on and on? Yeah. So tuple object does not support item assignment. So it doesn't crash the program. We can keep on going here. But these are exceptions we might have seen before. I just wanted to show you. Yeah, Fibonacci, good job. You get like 50 bonus points there. Sebzewski, sorry. But unfortunately, the bonus points aren't actually worth anything. They're just for fun. I actually wish I could award channel points. That'd be cool. I know there's like a bot that can do it. One of the guys I used to watch, I don't know if he streams much anymore, but he's a Turkish grandmaster, and he's studying computer engineering, computer science over in St. Louis. So he would have channel points for things, which was fun. But he had to like manually award them and stuff, and that sounded like a bit of a pain. Okay. So we can do exceptions. We can use finally if we want. And we haven't talked about inheritance yet, so this won't make a whole lot of sense, but if you want, you can make your own exception. So I can have my custom exception, and then in parentheses you put exception here. This is inheritance, we just haven't talked about it yet, and then we define our init method here, and init takes a value, and we say self.value is the value. Then what we can do is we can use that custom exception, right? So I can say, you know, enter a number equals an int of an input, enter a number, and we can, I don't know, just for fun, if number is less than 100, let's raise a my custom exception. And we'll say, I don't know, number can't be less than 100. Again, this is silly, like if you can do it in an if block, and like ask them again for it inside of our code here, great. Exceptions are really more meant for classes, where you have a class and if they give you a bad value and you can't operate because it's going to put your class in a bad state, you raise the exceptions. This is just showing you can do some custom exceptions for fun. Right, and we'll see it crashes here. So sure, 10, no, enter a number, let's do 1, and we get, oops, a my custom exception, number can't be less than 100. Sure, that's all. So you can do custom ones. They're kind of fun. All right. Let me go back here, make sure we're in the right spot. All right, yeah, so that's actually it for exceptions. Again, we'll use them more as we go in our classes. But the idea is the class uses exceptions to communicate back with the calling code. So whoever's using cup communicates using exceptions if bad stuff happens. Okay? You know, actually, we should just call it early today, and then I can do modules for you later, or we can talk about modules now, and then we'll just have Thursday off. To do any catch-up stuff that you might have. Because I'm actually going to be driving most of Thursday. We're leaving Wednesday night, and then we're going to drive the rest of Thursday, get there, fill in Thursday, and then she's got surgery the following Wednesday. Yeah, unit tests, of course. So, oh, yes, I should show you, we can write unit tests for exceptions too, which is fantastic. So I'm going to go to cup, I'm going to say go to test. So I'm right-clicking on my class, go to test. And it says, oh, there's no test. Let's make a test. Okay, so sure, all these defaults are fine. We're going to test add and drink because it'll give me some starter code. You don't need to, but it's fine if it does. Okay, so now we're here. Now we need to import, right? So we're going to say from main import cup, right? Because that's our main module. We're importing the class for cup here. So if you have trouble with this, it's the name of the file and then the name of the class. I can help you with it if you get stuck anywhere. I gotta text my wife here, sorry. My daughter has piano lessons coming up. And we always forget, because it's at a weird time. 4:15 is a weird time to start lessons. Oops. Okay. Cool. So now what I want to do is I want to do this AAA thing. I want to arrange, I want to act on my code, and I want to assert that I got the expected results. So for adding, right, I'm going to say an expected, I don't know, current volume maybe? Current volume is, say, I don't know, 50, right? And then let's actually go and make a cup. So I'm going to have, I don't know, cup equals a cup. And sure, we can put in that volume here as the capacity. That's fine. We're not really testing capacity at this point. We're testing the add function. Now I'm going to act. This is the code I want to test. So cup.add, we're going to add the expected volume, and they'll have an actual. So this is actual volume, cup.current volume in milliliters. Volume, no, is that spelled wrong? Volume, there we go. So let me go see what the value actually got set to. Again, there's not a whole lot of interesting stuff happening here, but this is the basics, right? I'm calling a public function, and what's happening here. So we might want to make these private, and then have methods where you would get them, but we can come back to that in a minute. And then we're going to assert. So it's self.assert equal that my expected current volume matches the actual volume. Right, I want to throw the word current in there because it's going to bother me. So current volume. Okay, and we can run this test. So we're saying if I add 50 milliliters, do I show that I have 50 milliliters? And oops, I have all this other junk in here. That's right, I need to hide all that. So it should be inside of an if name equals main block. And I'll move cup over here. I'm just putting cup at the top here, and then all this other stuff can get moved inside of that. That one there. Oops. Okay. I think I got it all. All right, let's try that one more time. So I had to, if you have something that's not class code, like if it's more than just the class blueprint, that's usually why I like putting these in their own files. That's probably cleaner here. You have to hide the stuff away in this if name is main. It'll make more sense once we talk about modules. Oops, that should get moved to there. It should go in here, and then we'll move this class up. Okay. Just some housekeeping, sorry. All right, so now I should be able to run the test. And sure, my test add passes. So I expected to have a volume of 50, and my current volume was 50. Now we're going to try drinking. Ooh, let's test that exception here. Let's do that. So we're going to say test add causes exception. And so if we set the current volume to max volume to 0, and then we try and add something over that, or here, let's set it to this. That's fine. Let's just add that times 2. Right? We should get an exception. So what I want to do, and you know what, I always forget how to do this. That's fine. We're going to do Python unit test exceptions. There's a right way to do it, and then there's a crappy way to do it. And what is it here? Assert.raises? Is that right? Cool. That looks right. So in here, now we're going to say, so there's really, in the assert function itself, right, there's not really any acting because it's all happening here. We'll say self.assert raises, and we say what kind of exception? This is a value error when we call cup.add here. So, it's nothing here. We are asserting. The other way to do it is you put a try and a catch and you assert in the catch, but that's not as pretty. using this, I think, is much better. So let's make sure we get a value error out. Uh-oh. It failed. Raise value error. Uh-oh, it did raise a value error. What did we do wrong? Huh. You have to be specific about... Oh. Is that it? Add. That might be it. Let's try that. Okay, that passed. So, all right, this one is a little bit awkward, I guess. So you say this is the name of the method, and this is the argument for the method here. So this is type of error, name of method, no parentheses, right? Argument passed. So the arguments passed are like optional, but like this one will probably cause it here. We're not going to have to test these too much. We might do that in lab, but I won't have you do any of these in our project for testing your exceptions. We'll use exceptions. Maybe you know what? Maybe we should. Maybe we will. I take that back. So we'll practice them in lab where we can try this raise an exception and we make sure we get the result back out here. So we're going to do the same with drink, right? So if we fill up a cup, we should be able to drink out of it here. So the only thing that's different here now, like the code that I'm acting upon is not really the adding. So I'm going to move that up here. The code that I really care about is in here. I'm going to drink, say, I don't know, 10. So then my expected volume will be less than that. So now it gets a little bit messy. That's fine. I'm not going to feel too bad about it. You know, sure. And I'll get the actual volume. So if I make a cup with a capacity of 50, I add 50 to it, and I drink 10, I should get back 40 left. Does that make sense? So we're saying, okay, let's make a cup size 50, we'll add 50 milliliters, we'll drink 10, and then we're going to get 40. So this is all kind of, I'm just setting the stage. This is the code I'm actually testing. Does the drink function work? We can run that test, and then we'll do another one where it throws an exception. Okay, that one worked. So one more then. So now if I don't put anything in here, I don't even need that expected volume. I just make a cup, doesn't matter. And I drink out of it, that's actually going to be my exception. So I'm going to assert raises. I should get a value error out when I call drink. Or no, cup.drink, right? Cup.drink. And any number here, right? Like 1 ought to do it, right? Again, you know, nothing here. It's in the assert. So when I drink, just like I did add up here, if I say 1, it should fail because I just don't have anything in the cup right now. Okay, so all those ones pass, so I can come back up to the class level and I can say run them all here. Right, we should get all 4 tests passing here. Oops, I forgot to rename it here. It's confused. If you have 2 with the same name, it gets really confused. Causes, or maybe raises. Exception. Sure, that's probably better. All right, how you feeling about that? Does that help, Sammy? So, like when we're looking at that, the unit, the project here, right? You're talking about Connect 4. Does this one make sense? I think I ran out of time to tell you about it, but I posted it here. So, when we're testing, does drop piece work? Right? You don't need to throw an exception. I mean, you can at this point. I think that might be better if like the column is full and you try and drop a piece in there. An exception might be better. You could also just return a true or false if it works or not. Either way, I'm okay with. But like testing tied, right? When you fill up the board, you put a bunch of pieces in, we should get a tied result. right? If you have a winner here, we're testing, okay, I need to put a bunch of pieces. And so in my arrange portion, I need to drop a bunch of pieces, right? Put a piece in here, put a piece in here, put a piece in here, put a piece in here. Whatever's going to give me a winner by row, and then test that I do get a true. Yes, I have a winner. Test by column. So drop a piece, drop a piece, drop a piece, drop a piece, right? Put them in some sort of manner. I believe the board is 6 rows by 7 columns. But I would honestly have to Google that. Connect 4. Let's double check. That's like image search, right? That one looks like 6 rows with 7 columns. Yes, 6 rows, 7 columns. So when you unit test by diagonal, so we need to set up the internal grid itself with the pieces and drop pieces in, drop, right? So what you might want to do, like for testing drop piece, if it returns true if it works and false if it fails, drop 6 pieces in, and you should get 6 trues, and the 7th when you try and drop a piece should be a false, or raise an exception. Again, either way is up to you. I'm not too particular about it. An exception might be a little more proper because like they really screwed up trying to do that. But again, true or false is fine too. So the fun part here, right? All you have to do is write the class and the tests. There, you don't actually have to be able to play the game. You probably want to add that part in though, just so like you can actually try it. It's kind of boring to just do the unit tests and not be able to play it. But there's no points for making the part that actually uses the class to let you play the game. That's like, oh hey, it's red's turn. Oh, hey, it's yellow's turn. It's red's turn, yellow's turn. Which column do you want to drop in? Which column do you want to drop in? Yellow's turn, red's turn. Which column do you want to drop in? I'll do that when I show you the solution for it, but it's not required for the project here because there's no points for it. I just want to know, can you write the class for it and then unit test the class? Does that make sense? Cool. So why don't we call it a day early? We'll do modules on Thursday. I'll have a recorded video for you guys. And then I'll be around later that evening to answer questions if you have any on Discord. It'll be videos for the next 2 weeks after that. Apologies. But I'll be around to answer questions. The internet's not stable enough. And then I'm going to work on getting caught up on grading all your stuff. I apologize. I'll work on the midterms shortly. And then I'll come back for the projects, okay? All right, don't forget, grab your coffee, go out and vote if you haven't yet, and if no one else has bothered you. I mean, I've gotten like 20 texts today already, it's nuts. But sure, and then we'll get through this together. So don't worry, if you're stressing about it, we've got the CAPS department available if you want someone to talk to who actually knows what they're doing. I'd be happy to talk to you, but I know nothing about that sort of stuff and how to help people. But I'm always here for you guys too. So let me know. And keep in touch. Again, if you're not telling me you need help, it's really hard for me to know because we're not sitting in person anymore where I could see it. So just keep in touch. We can do Zoom calls, we can Discord, screen share, whatever. You can call me on the phone. I'll be around for you guys, okay? All right, you guys take care. You wanna go somewhere? I don't know. We only got a couple people hanging out. Let's see. Who was all? Yeah, there's only a couple, so I don't think a raid will actually work. But yep, go have some fun. I'll talk to you guys later.